Hello and welcome to Your Story Presents Creators Inc. Obviously, for a lot of us who grew up watching AIB, suddenly one day sees AIB in association with Bacardi House Party Sessions launch this, super cool musician with like an absolutely refreshing sense of music. A song called Urge was dropped and it blew the internet. India found its biggest and probably the first musical sensation born probably completely out of the internet first. Ritviz, welcome to Creators Inc. How are you? What is going on? What's happening? And how's your mental state right now?
Thank you for having me. First of all, as you can hear, my awaz is pretty down because of the weather right now. It's so Goa. I'm in Goa right now, and Goa has suddenly seen a massive shift in like climate here. So suddenly it's like extremely cold, and I'm enjoying it because I'm new to the city. So मैं suddenly देख रहा हूँ कि गोवा में ठंड भी हो सकती है, you know. So I'm just dealing with that. And apart from that, I think mental state is pretty has not seen this kind of like state in a while, because I think the city is also doing it for me. I love Goa. I love how laid back the city is. I love how, you know, things are treated here and everything. So मैं काफी अच्छे से fit in हो जाता हूँ यहाँ पे.
And you stay in Pune, so I'm sure it's not that far. Like you can just get into the car and reach.
Yeah, I'm a city boy. So मैं पुणे से आया हूँ. So I just moved here like last year. So, you know, it's quite refreshing, honestly. Yeah.
So first question I want to ask you, it's not in a very positive tone. So COVID season is back, and unfortunately it's back, and live shows are cancelled. I myself had booked for so many shows, and unfortunately one by one got cancelled. So are you obviously no musician, and no one can be happy about it, but are you using this time to write more songs, to delve more into your creative process and everything?
So the way I look at it is, to be very honest, as much as I enjoy live, and I know that that aspect of my music, just performing it live, is as important part as creating it. I'm not a big fan of traveling. I think in the past also, right before when the pandemic hit, I was doing about like 3 shows a week, and I had reached like मैं burnout हो गया था. It was saturation point hit कर गया था, you know. So when pandemic hit, and I hope like I don't sound insensitive when I say this, it was a boon in disguise, because एक sudden pause आ गया, right? Life में pause आ गया. Everybody, the entire world just like reached a pause, and that's when I think I sincerely got some time to like think and reflect, you know. So like for me, the last 1 year, knowing that business has taken a huge hit, you know, work did some good for my mental health, you know, in terms of just how I was dealing with pressure in the music front and like personal front and everything. I think wo ek pause was very necessary. So and the thing is, because I'm a bedroom producer, मैं इतना introverted इंसान हूँ, मैं घर से anywhere नहीं निकलता हूँ, you know. So for me, this room is my, you know, natural habitat. So it wasn't feeling like much of a difference, because like मैं घर में in Pune also, I would just be like in my room and stuff. So just knowing that being in my room right now feels like privilege, you know, just because like with career and everything and all of the things that I have to take, you know, stride, uske saath we just keep saying yes to things, and it's like you're on that, wo race shuru ho jati hai, you know. So I think usko, and uspe to main no bhi nahi, like duniya, like the entire world just like, you know, paused for a minute, so none of us had a choice. But I think it was so necessary for me to like just take some time out and think about like ki kya ho raha hai, you know, like we just, you know, we get so involved. Yeah, and like I hope that I don't sound insensitive when I say this. I know that like it's such a horrible time. It's such a horrible time, and I hope that jald se jald थोड़े ये variants कम evolve होने लगे, you know, and like we get out of this.
Some evolve होने लगे, and we get to hear Ritviz live again. Like, personally, for me also, that's the biggest thing. Like, you know, hearing you live, I've heard once or twice, and it's insane and brilliant. But will we get to hear some really crazy songs which, born out of this pandemic, born out of with this time which
My
you're spending to understand your situation?
Abhi to in this, I think my last Bharat was birthed in this pandemic. Uske pehle Thandi Hawa, Roshni, couple of songs I think already हमने निकाले हैं like in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And even now I know that jaisa chal raha hai, whatever, let's just hope for the best. But I hope that I am able to also produce more music. Yeah.
Yes. And talk to us about your creative process, because a lot of young creators will be watching you and right now, and they would want to know what is Ritviz's creative process. We have seen, yes, you have the smirk on your face. We've seen Anshuman Sharma's video and it was hilarious, very funny. But this has to be the real process, like the real Ritviz process, and not the one packed in 2 minutes.
First of all, big shout out to Anshuman. I think he killed it with the parody. I think that it was done so well. It was done so well. So just big shout out to, yeah, it's amazing. Like, I remember like when that come out, like my mom was like he's spot on, and I'm like, yeah, mama, yep, it is, he is. So no, but just big shout out to Anshuman. And when we talk about like my creative process in general, it's a very मैं बहुत different way में I look at music in a very, I see music as a reaction, right? वो expression होता है. So like whatever I'm going through in my life, music is just like the reaction to those things, right? Let me give you a little breakdown of how it has been like for me in the last like 10 years or so. So the way I look at like my musical career so far is pre-ud gaya and post-ud gaya. Because a lot of things obviously changed for me. Post-ud gaya and like things were very different for me pre-ud gaya. And I know that this is a checkpoint, and I'll tell you why aisa hai. So pre-ud gaya, a lot of things, the way I used to create was a very different method. Like us samay mein, obviously as a 17-year-old kid, I was lacking on experiences. My personal life wasn't like booming or anything. I imagined, and all of my desires I pertained into music. वो मैं जो सोचता था that would be my music, right? For example, Liggi and Ud Gaye, Thandi Hawa, few of the songs I had written pre-Ud Gaye, तो ये गाने purely came out of like imagination, and they were just like really strong desires. So वो imagination convert होता था गानों में, right? Post Ud Gaye is when I started building my personal life, right? Like after when I hit 2021, I was like, okay, cool. Look, mom, I made it, okay? And now I'm going to start like focusing on my personal scene. Because professional suddenly boom karne laga, and I'm like, shit, my personal is still a baby. So I started building my personal, right? Ever since Ud Gaye came out, that became a main goal for me. And with that, my writing process also changed. So I obviously because वो desire तो लिखने का already था, but like लिखने का तरीका change हो गया, where it was more about I will live, I'll like have experiences and then I will write about them rather than imagining them. Right now I'm having the time and I can afford to like find experiences for myself is what my music is going to be. So I think Sage was the first song that I'd written like purely based on a fresh experience that I had faced, and Roshni was written around the time when pandemic hit, so like ये गानों का meaning different होने लगा just because of why I was writing them, and this is more or less my creative process now. Today, like the way I look at my music now is कि if I'm like when I look at my music, I'm like, okay, like Liggi talks about a certain stage of my life, like I look at my songs as like, oh, this is what I was going through at this point, so it's very process ऐसा कुछ मैं काफी lazy इंसान हूँ. I barely sit and like मैं plan करता हूँ कि नहीं यहाँ पे बैठ के गाना बनाना है. I'm very like I need to be motivated, I need to be inspired, I need to be going through something, because music for me is just a translation of all the emotions जो मेरे अंदर brew हो रहे हैं, so to give you like a basic understanding, ये ऐसा मेरा creative process.
That is amazing. And you mentioned Ud Gaye so many times. And personally for me, like a lot of very young people would be watching, but like for me, Urge was suddenly what happened to AIB? Why are they launching a song? And then the country goes mad, and like I went mad. Like, what is this? This is something extremely exclusive and different. But while this interview was being scheduled and we put up the promos and everything, there was one question, and since you mentioned Urge so many times, that is, how many songs of you has Tanmay hoarded? And how many of the songs are we going to hear which are going to get leaked or something like that? Because I heard Punchy and I was like, why is this song not out till now? Why are we hearing it on a different channel or something like that?
So Tanmay is like my Dropbox. Okay. He's like my Dropbox folder. He is that person. The sharing music has become like it's like sharing ideas, just like up at this point, I write something and he'll text me ki gaana banaya kya? Like that's it. That's literally how and he's my dad. He's my virtual dad. And it's been like this since 2017. So he is sitting on a lot of music because mere liye toh it's like I'll write an idea, and like I know like my manager Rahul and a lot of people around me, people who work with me, have now also understood कि ठीक है, अगर Ritviz गाना लिख रहा है, that doesn't mean anything, क्योंकि वो गाना हो सकता है कभी नहीं निकले, so it's like we'll only get excited when that song will come to like finish line, क्योंकि I write music very frequently. Like I do have a lot of ideas जो मैं like record करता हूँ. मैं like अगर motivated हूँ तो I'll just एक गाने को I'll make it reach like 30-40%, but if I'm not motivated anymore, so like my manager knows. He's like, हाँ ठीक है, cool, this sounds good, but can you give me like कि you think ये जा रहा है उस जगह में? तो at this point a lot of people who work with me, my friends, family, have a lot of music, including Tanmay. But
and thank God he has, because we get to hear a lot of it, right, as viewers.
And then I'm just like, Tanmay, like if I share this, will you tease it? I'm just like, don't do this, don't, because tab मैं victim बन जाता हूँ, and मेरी public is just like, bro, क्यों कर रहे हो ऐसा? I'm like, but मैंने तो tease भी नहीं किया, Tanmay ने tease किया. Why is he doing this? And he shows off, right? He's so shameless. He will go and he'll rub it into people's faces. He's like, देखो मेरे पास है गाना. And I've heard the full thing, and it's just like he puts me in a.
Drop के पहले काट दो.
Wait, I don't know why he does this, but
at least drop तो सुना दो यार. If I read your songs, a lot of them has a lot of juxtaposition of feelings, and that juxtaposition is that belongingness which you have, like especially if I talk about Khamoshi, my reading was that guy, he goes back to his hometown and everything, that rootness, the person is rooted to it, but also wants the change. That I think is also represented through you using a lot of Indian classical tones along with the electronic beats. So that kind of a theme which goes on with you constantly in the way how you interpret your songs?
I think it's a very good question, and it's a that video also translates in the way how I have made music in the past. My roots are the reason why I think the connect with classical music and the Indianness of me obviously comes from jo mere childhood ke influences the, just like I grew up listening to Indian classical music. My mom is an Indian classical singer. My dad plays the tabla. So matlab, this was my growing up. I had, the most like influential people around me, music ka mahal hi tha har samay mein. So, and it was, it is what is translated today in my music, So I know that going back home is such a strong symbol of like what I'm trying to do with my music also today, and just like that, jo West ka bhi influence hua mere life mein, right? After like once I turned 14, 15, I started listening to VH1 and like hip hop sunne lage. So like that was also a very natural, organic way of like influence the way it took over, in my head, and together it was this format jo aaj hum log sunte hain, So yeah. I hope I answered your question. I went.
No, absolutely. You answered the question, because I've seen that Tiesto playing a role in that understanding of yours as well, and I think all that comes together sort of things, because this rootlessness and belongingness we have seen like if I go back and think any form of art element or any form of interpretation of anyone's, that's Jhumpa Lahiri with her books and everyone who has that rootlessness feeling and the belongingness, which I think in music translates in terms of what you do. And that's really refreshing, which is also why I think so many people love you, right? Like that refreshing thing came with that.
I think what's also, just to add on top of that, sorry, I think what's exciting is also growing up, there was never a format that was taught to me apart from Indian classical music. Both मैंने formally सीखा है, but just in terms of songwriting and music composition and all of this, I think that freedom was there in term. And I mean, I just want to give a, like, obviously my mom is really responsible here for like giving me that freedom, because she's also a creative individual, right? She's like 1,000 times more creative than I am, right? And that freedom was always there for me to enjoy, like all of us enjoy certain things, although we all share common denominator hota hai sare consumers mein, but like I feel like all of us have our individual liking towards like कुछ एक ये बहुत ज्यादा मजा आया एक रहमान के गाने में, you know, या एक बहुत ये मजा आया कोई एक Jay-Z के गाने में, whatever it is that sticks with us, right? So I think growing up there were certain things that I enjoyed about not just like certain set of music, but like as a language, as Hindi music in totality, something that stuck, that remained with me, right? And something from the West that remained with me. And together, when aaj mein jo output deta hu, it's just basically a culmination of all those things that I enjoyed listening to, you know? So it's a healthy share of things जो मैंने like embed किए अपने दिमाग में. Not that कि आज मैं अगर हिंदी म्यूजिक गाऊंगा या ये करूंगा तो I need to follow a certain format, you know, कि मुझे like I need to know the grammar, you know, मैं grammar पे focus करता ही नहीं हूँ, मुझे literature से प्यार है, you know. I have grown up being obsessed with a word and how phonetically it sounds, you know. Maybe उसका meaning नहीं होगा जो match करे, but like it's like these little things that like stayed with me, is why my music is also weird in its own way. कि काफी लोग मजाक भी उड़ाते हैं उसका कि यार ऐसे क्यों गा रहे हो, ऐसे क्यों, but like मुझे उसमें like that's the way that's the way I enjoy it. That's the way I feel like my word should be sung. That's the purest way I output something, right? So anyway, but just to add on top of that,
no, this is very important, because you know I've seen that Urgai wala backstory wala video, and there I think the Zama as a word you wrote it and you went back to see what does it mean, right?
Yeah. And this has happened so many times, right? Like I in my music, right, like songwriting composition, जिनके साथ मैं literally I don't even need to like I think Google बाद में आएगा. I think my mom will come first, right? I've written a word and I feel like जब melody लिखता हूँ मैं, when I write a melody, I'm constantly thinking about like, okay, क्या यहाँ पे what is it that I'm trying to say? Once I learn what it is that I'm trying to say, words also start hitting me, and next thing I know कि मैंने 3 उर्दू word बोल दिए यहाँ पे, मुझे उर्दू पता है नहीं. So I'm calling my dada, I'm like, Dada, I don't know ये क्या लिखा है मैंने, but like, can you tell me? And he's like, this means this and that, and I'm like, and he's like, yeah, weirdly it's making sense also. I'm like, I don't know how that connect happens, but जैसे melody आती है दिमाग में, वैसे हम करके words भी आते हैं, you know. And this could just be all my set of subconsciously क्या दिमाग में बैठ गया होगा बच्चे से, we don't even know, right? But all of that in its purest form is coming out now, you know what I mean? So
yeah, sort of culminates in the music which you make, right? No, absolutely makes sense. You know, I'm going to put you in a spot right now. I'm going to ask you that, leave aside Urgai. Okay, let's keep Urgai aside. But that one song, which is Ritviz's favorite song of yours, obviously.
Nah, I don't have a favorite song. That's like you're asking me to choose between my kids. It's like that.
No. Obviously, I knew that is the kind of response you're going to give. But एक गाना मतलब अभी मतलब Ritviz खुद सुनता है Urgai के अलावा, मतलब Urgai is a very easy.
I'm telling you, मैं सारे गाने को सुनता हूँ, because I in fact have phases with my own music, you know. I think because for me it is like memories. So if I'm listening to Urgai, it just reminds me of the time जब मैं बना रहा था. For me it's like my memory channel करता हूँ. And what's weird is people also who enjoy say my music or any type of music, songs also just become memories, right? Over time, like I know a lot of people who text me today saying कि यार when I listen to उड़ गए मुझे बस college की याद आती है, you know. So it's like the song becomes like this important phase of your life, right? So I also see it that way. You know, कि मैंने क्यों build किया, क्यों लिखा ये, उस समय में क्या चल रहा था मेरे दिमाग में. But that being said, यार favorite तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. I can tell you that I'm excited about new ideas.
Okay, so now Ritviz, let's talk about the creator economy for which we have come here. Like, you know, the market is huge. You know, some studies say that it's like over $100 billion market. Some says over 50 million creators. Now we do not have an actual number to put into it. The market is pretty fragmented, but everyone knows it's the next big thing. You know, there's a lot of VCs which are coming in, a lot of startups which are building products to solve for creators. Where do you see this industry heading? Like, do you see a culmination of it or it coming together in some form or shape? And how would one leverage it?
I think we are in a very exciting time. Like, I think just like in the last 15 years with like the boom of internet and everything, I think the way exponentially grow, right? You know, the way we're looking at creator economy just like grow big and big. And I think just recently, I think Instagram is trying out a beta version of like the subscriber model that YouTube has already started. You know, which you get even more exclusive content from creators. Like I was just reading about it the other day. What does that told me is that this is getting bigger and bigger, right? Like the like content is obviously like center and it is ruling. Like it is literally things are evolving around it. But that evolution is so exciting to watch. You know, and I feel like ये बड़े होते ही जाएगा. This is like, you know, it's going to be very interesting to see where we are going to be standing as a because I think like just simply like just simple economics है यहाँ पे just supply demand का चल रहा है. You know, I feel like even when there is like I don't know if I am a good example of this, but I know that every time I drop music, there's the demand has remained, right? Oh my God, और चाहिए गाना. You know, music is looked at as like a very important set of like, I feel like people's lifestyle, right? Like this is bigger than just the art. It is a part of people's lives. So because ये इतना important entity है, इसकी demand बढ़े जा रही है, and because of that and because of the help of like our current status of internet and everything जैसे चल रहा है, you know, I think it's going to be interesting to see how formidable this becomes in terms of like, you know, so yeah, it's very interesting. I think just to see where we're going to stand in like in the next 5-10 years. Yeah, pretty exciting.
Do you see you know disruption in some of the process, like for example how brands are approached for creators or how brands approach creators and how the entire you know monetization bit used to happen, not the usual way? Do you see any sort of disruption there in terms of how the money is made for creators?
I think the disruption has taken place. Yeah, I think that's already in place, and we, in its own ways, the benefits are also in place where creators are now like collaborating with brands in a very healthy. So the way I look at it is like if a brand is coming on board to try and push a product, you are penetrating the creators market, right? And I feel like we are reaching a point where both the brand and the creator are meeting, you know, like midway, which is exciting because if I am like telling my fans to use a product that I believe in and I use because my fans are watching and learning about me, right? And what my lifestyle is. So just the integration of the product and to be done in a very organic manner is very important, you know. And I think that is happening. I think that change is happening. I've worked with enough brands now in the last 1-2 years where we have met that, you know, midway. And I think it's important to be working with the right set of people that believe in you, believe in your music, you know, and we believe in the brand, you know. It's like that and that will translate online, you know, rather than just a very generic straight up like, you know, ki theek hai, main promote kar raha hu, you know what I mean? Which is
much more integrated with the content which you create, right?
Yes. So yeah, so what we as a team also, we always discuss that we try and push things that we believe in and the set of people believe in us, because that way the translation is always like done right, you know. And I think the people also watching and learning about me should know what I'm about, should know why I make the music that I make. I
Be
think it comes
invested
down
in
to,
your life and
yes.
understanding.
And I'm posing, I'm talking, it's truth, right?
Yeah.
It's as my music is portraying this person, you know, and my Instagram is saying ki main ye gana kyun bana raha hu, you know. So it's like it's I'm giving you reason for the kind of person it's me being myself online, you know. And that is the purest way of like, you know, letting people know what I'm about. And in that process, I would love to tell people the things that I believe in, the products that I use, and this and that, you know. And that, I think, should be done like that. And I feel like there are enough brands now that understand this, and it's exciting times.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of startups and VCs would also be watching these interviews and be is a part of going to be a part of the Creators Inc. event also. And obviously, the economy is also seeing a lot of guzzling enough money. And I think some of this conversation, which you are saying, your perspective, would also help them to understand what kind of products creators would like. How would the brand engagement be? Two questions I wanted to ask you, because I went through a lot of your interviews, and this one thing which is I think very important, that is you as an entrepreneur as well, because you talk about starting a fashion line, your own clothes brand and everything. So tell us about that. If what state is in it right now, and what are you planning about it?
Plan though काफी दिनों से, like I think this has been so it feels like a pivot to me. It feels like the way, okay, so let me tell you a little bit about like how I feel about myself so the way I look at myself, I don't look at myself as a musician, right? I look at myself as a creative individual, you know, if I may, you know. And that just by the fact that I see myself as that, it like you know, widens my horizon right there, right? So I don't see myself as just making music for the rest of my life. You know, I feel, and the thing is, making music is also, like I said, I see as an expression. So I can express in 10 other ways, you know. So right there, I already know that there are different ways I want to express my thoughts and feelings, right? And like as a kid also, I never really knew that music would take center, you know. It obviously happened very organically, and wo naturally ban gaya mera main, and it is always going to be that. But I know that I do see myself pivoting to in other fields, and just the essence of being a creator is important, right? The state of mind of being in the state of mind to like learn that as a creator, I'm making ideas a reality, right? At the end of the day, it's just that.
Absolutely.
So the fundamental agar mere dimag mein hai, to I do see it as like, okay, how do I tell people my story through clothes, through fabrics? Like, how do I do that? So I know that this has been something that I've been working on in the last 2 years. Or wo chal raha hai, kaam chal raha hai. Let's see, maybe 2023 is the year. But then again, I will not mention, क्योंकि हर बार ये करता हूँ मैं बस इतना बोलूंगा काम चल रहा है.
No, if I have to infer, I'm sure there'll be a lot of indie plus Western kind of clothing which will be mixed. And you know, I'll give you one more thing. Okay, we'll wait for the fashion line. We'll give you one more thing, that is, you know, a business journalist, if watching this interview, would infer saying Ritviz uses music to acquire customers to sell them his fashion line. That would be the headline, and how the reading would happen for a business journalist. Last, you know, before I let you go, I want to ask you one question about fame. Okay, and I think for creators watching, it would be very important, because you did become famous very young, right? I'm not sure about the age, but I'm pretty sure very young, and one of those big stars. And that fame has continued, like sort of stayed with you. You have dropped some really crazy songs and music, and you have become very famous. How would you explain to creators, you know, young creators watching you, as to how to handle fame? Because, you know, that might bring in behavioral changes, mental space might get disrupted. So what did you do, and what would you tell others to do?
This is a very important question. I think in my life, I hit that stage really early. I did not expect it. In fact, I remember when I was like 19, I used to tell my folks that, guys, 27 ke pehle kuch nahi ho raha hai, theek hai? And that was the mindset jo leke both my folks and me, we were walking, right? Like, this is a good 10-year investment in this, and because, you know, so when it did happen overnight almost for me, you know, after Udgai, things changed and it became really scary because I wasn't prepared for that one, and no one is like this. Like, this, stuff like this, just, you know, is very unpredictable, especially in my line. And the thing is, I think the only thing that I wish that should be taught more is to, like, when things start taking off, it is so important to, like, focus on how you're doing mentally, you know. Because at that point, obviously, this is all I had dreamt of, right? As a 19, 20-year-old, I'm like, oh my God, bro, this is my moment. I'm going to, like, you know, this is it. This is what I have been working my last 10 years. Like, this is, I've dreamt of this moment, right? So at that point, me saying yes to everything and doing 3 shows a week, going everywhere, like, I realized that I'd completely burnt out in a year, just in 1 year, you know. And as a 20, 21-year-old kid, it wasn't like I had like any sort of experience, but that what I noticed is that I was losing, I was losing the energy to make music, which is why all of that was happening. You know, jab wo nikalne gaya, then I started getting worried. I was like, no, this is not how it's supposed to be, right? So we took I remember that at that point, we took our first break. मैंने पहला break लिया था 6 महीने का, and which was very important at that point. And that's when I realized things. I was like, okay, cool, ठीक है. I need to focus on this personal guy, like अपना personal को भी I started building. So I think it's really important to learn that no matter. And I think all of this happened because of the people I was surrounded with, right? I feel like my mom and my dad, my best friend, my manager, all of us, have been like this for the last like 5-10 years. Like, and I don't think that I'm treated any differently ghar pe, you know. Ghar pe, I'm still that same guy. I don't think that I feel like my reality check hote tab when I go on Instagram and I see a comment like it's like, or if like I meet somebody, you know, outside, and they'll tell me, and then I'm like, oh my God, okay, theek hai. Like, I forget that I'm like, you know, Ritviz, you know. And it's so important. It is so important to be surrounded by people that make you forget that, you know. So for me, I feel it's definitely the people that have kept me in this state. Because even through that immediate boom of like attention and everything, what kept me stable was my folks, you know. What kept me stable and like reminded me ki where I am was my people, my family. So it's so important to have that support, right? And because वो याद करना जरूरी है कि तुम कितना भी ऊपर जाओगे 2 मिनट में नीचे आ सकते हो, you know. It is a second. Like, if you know that it's an overnight boom, that fall is probably faster than that can be expected, right? So
sustaining that.
Yes. So for me, it was more about learning how to sustain it, how to, and in order for me to see myself staying like this for the next 10 years, it was, okay, cool, I got to take care of my mental. I need to be in a state to like know that, okay, cool, if things are not right, it's okay. My personal will take care of my professional, you know. It's why I started building my personal. So like, personal and professional are like, you know, walking together hand in hand. So agar aaj ye kharab hua to ye hoga isko to take care of it. If my personal is bad, you know, like that balance of sorts, wo seekhna bahut zaruri hai, jo main abhi bhi seekh raha hu. I am still learning, but I think this is what I wanted to share on that note. You know,
I think very important, because, you know, all the creators watching would want to know this. We've done a lot of research to ask you 3 questions.
Oh, okay.
That is first, one mentor you look up to or ask advice from.
One mentor, my mom.
Mom, okay.
Yeah, my mom is my mentor. She's
One dream collaboration.
I would like to say 2. Okay,
sure.
Because it's a healthy fight there.
Yeah.
And I think if you've like learned enough about me, you already know this. It's Rahman and Kanye West. You know, I think 2 people that I sincerely look up to. So I can't like pick between the two.
Okay. That sort of
Yeah.
kills our next question, because the next question was one international artist Ritviz absolutely loves. So I think we got the answer there. Kanye West.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ritviz. Thank you so much for joining us and
Thank you.
talking on the creators thing. It was
Thank
lovely
you.
talking to you.